So, okay, it says stop. Okay, so we are. If you've been following in the news lately, and I hope you have, because if not, then this channel's kind of useless for you, right? It's today's news in Warcraft, and right now you're getting news. So, if you've been living under a rock lately, you found out that one of these big AI companies, I'm going to have a soul on top of it, one of these big AI companies was buying up a bunch of books. And not just any kind of books, but according to the news, it said it was rare and out-of-print books. Ooh. In order to train its large language model, right? Because that's apparently what it needs to do now. It needs to buy very rare, very out-of-print books. You know what? There was a big cheaper option, and I'll tell you about that one in just a moment. But everybody and their brother's been irate about this because of the fact that, you know what, they're eating. You know what, AI came for your books that you don't read. And no, you don't read. In all seriousness, y'all don't read. You socially promoted people because holding them back might have hurt their little feelings, but guess what? Sometimes you just need to hold the kid back. Yes, and the lack of a love of reading has directly contributed to this. In other words, it's partly your fault. Go look in the mirror, point at that mirror, and I want you to say this is all your fault. And you're going to be very surprised by who you point to. Start valuing reading again, people. But the big deal here, and I agree with this point, this one point. They used rare books. They used very rare. They used out of printers. Okay, so my puppy, get him. So they used, and that should not have been done. Sorry, it should not have been at all. Because what they had to do was cut the spine. Okay, number one, you cut the spine of the book. And that's where it begins, is you cut the spine. Okay, and then you take every single page of said book. And you're going to scan each and every page through a scanner, like one of those industrial strength scanners that's going to take it a while to, but it's going to get all those pages. It's going to go like that and get them, right? And then after that, they shredded the book. Which in the case of rare books and out-of-print books, why are you doing that? Why are you doing that? But do you also know what those big, and excuse me if you hear the buzzing noise, I have my fans on today because I don't want my AC on. Guess what? It's in the 60s and I want all that nice cool air coming in here. But you know what those big old influencers aren't doing? They're not doing this. I'll do it. I'll do it. I've got a mini library here at home. How many books have they read in the past year? I want to ask you that. To all of these little influencers that are going nuts and Muppet flailing and whatever over the fact that that at least one AI model has done this. At least one. Probably more than one. We just know, I think it was Anthropic, wasn't that the one that I saw in the posts that was doing that? But how many books have you influencers read in the past year that if I were to ask you that, what is that number? You've got a lot of wicked claws to send over to normal. She can just start making things. Actually, wait, no, I want the turtles, so we're going to cast that. can tell you I've read several. I'll show you the place where I go to in just a second. Here, let's go right here. We'll just find a nice stopping point. You know what? Anthropic or large language models or whatever you are, guess what? Oops, had the wrong window there. Guess what? Shh. You could have gone to HamiltonBook.com and gotten a bunch of $1.95 books on bunches of different subjects. And guess what? I don't care if they're not your cup of tea, because guess what? You start in a lending library. You can start a lending library in your area with just a bunch of $1.95 books from E. Hamilton Bookseller. That was not an ad. That was just me telling you where I go to get mine. That's it. Honest to goodness. And you know what hasn't procced yet? Is Shadow Trance. I hadn't seen it or heard it or nothing. Wow. Weird. But that's where I go to get my stuff. Even collections of comics. How long has it been since you've read a comic book? How long? Go read something, anything. Anything right now. Good Lord. Only thing I ask you not to do is read right-wing propaganda. There's a lot of wholehearted lying everywhere in that. Let's make it a fear mob. Bye-bye. Now, but yeah, go there, go find a book. Go find a book. They even sort them out by interests. Oh my goodness. So whatever interest you have, go and look. Ooh, my dots alone might not get this. Uh-oh. What if it doesn't? It didn't. It did not. Oh. But yeah, that's where I go and get my stuff. I'm just letting you know. You can start a little lending library. You just build a shed to put it in. It's not hard to build a shed, I promise. That takes minimal skills. The most you have to do is worry about any water dripping in it. And you can start a community lending library in your own neighborhood. But you know, you gotta put up the disclaimer. We're not responsible for what goes in here because other people use this. But where are you, influencers? Where are you? Where are you when it comes to making sure people grow up able to read? You started in on this Gen Alpha can't read stuff too. Guess what, influencers? Go look in the mirror and point and say you are the problem. Quit justifying things like social promotions when they're functionally illiterate. There's children that are functionally illiterate that should not be in the grade they're in right now. And that's magic paper or no magic paper. Guys, come on. There's just, and I know it takes a lot. It takes a heck of a lot to justify holding somebody back that has an IEP. I know. I mean, it really does. But, oh my word. I know for a fact of children with an IEP, and you know, all the more power to you because they got, you know, the system got gamed, and there are children with, oh, there it is, it just doesn't blink anymore. Aha. Now, I hit Shadow Ward on accident, sorry guys. But, you know, and they got a National Honor Society. They did. And they were on a magic document that said they are only responsible for 50% of the work. That's one of the big things that that Magic IEP says now, because it's usually about 50%. And now the new one that I've heard of in these is a chance to correct everything. They get one chance to correct, which, okay, I mean, we all get chances to correct in real life, but you know, in business, how does that work? I mean, how is this translating? I don't know. I don't know. Somebody with more knowledge than me needs to comment. Okay, somebody with more knowledge. But why are we raising illiterate children? Why are we? And no, it's not just the school system's fault. It's your fault too, as a parent, because you don't parent your kid. Uh-oh, I'm full. Inventory is full. Well, if you're just that, neener, I'm not doing it. Let's just see what I want to get rid of here. Yeah, let's get rid of you. Whoops. So, but why are we raising illiterate children? Please answer that. Parents? Why aren't you reading? People at large? You know, a lot of these problems that come about misinformation, disinformation, stuff like this, it can be solved very quickly if you would have just read. Reading rocks, people, come on. I am all for teaching people to read, and I am all for making sure that people can read. Yes, exceptions, they have to exist. There's someone that might be mentally incapable of reading. It happens. It happens. And I feel bad for that poor kid. I do. You know, I truthfully do. Don't ever get me wrong about somebody that is truly, utterly disabled. I feel miserable sometimes because of the trap that sometimes it feels like you must be in. You're in. Whoops. Wrong ability. There we go. But yeah, sometimes it must feel like a trap, and other times there's certain advantages I can see to it. Not like a special privilege or anything like that, but I mean just something that would be more better equipped for somebody with that exact somebody that has that exact disability or something. Like say you have somebody that's got great attention to detail, that's got a disability. Well, guess what? Sometimes the disability plays right into that attention to detail. But in any event, I've got to quit talking about disability stuff. But I need to get back to the reading bit, because nobody saved these books. Nobody else saved these books. Tell me an influencer that went out of their way to say, please do not go do this. Instead, I will give you 30 of these in exchange for one of those. None of these influencers have done that. And that's really what I wanted to get on, was the influencer culture and the outrage culture that you are in. You're a part of it, guys. I'm just gonna get him. I'm just gonna get you, and I don't care. You know, I messed up my pull anyway. I should have gotten the Fell Hunter right there. But no, the illiterate society is to blame. That whole idea again. The price of liberty is eternal vigilance. The price of liberty, again, is eternal vigilance. That means making sure children are educated. That means making sure that people read. That means making sure that when people grow up, they're able to do things like read. Not have the screen read to them, not get your news off of TikTok, but actually sit down and read a thing. You know, there's nothing like it. There's nothing like it. You are going through and looking at words and maybe words and pictures on a dead tree and hallucinating the entire time, going into different voices and stuff like that. It's actually really fun. Go read. Oh, it's one of the freebooters. We just want that one done quickly. Now, with that all out of the way, we're going to head down the BlueSky News Feed. From NBC News, over the past 2 weeks, wildfires in France and Spain burned through hundreds of square miles, displacing tens of thousands of locals and tourists. Again, you want evidence of climate change? Here it is, people. Here it is. What more do you need? What more do you want? There's the wildfires in Canada too right now. How much more do you want? Did you know a lot from Maine down to about Virginia at least, maybe even down to North Carolina? Oh crap. Oh, you didn't get. How did that happen? How that happened, I will never know. I will never, ever know. With all of Canada on fire and the entire East Coast gone, almost the entire East Coast. I mean, it goes from New York, at least up from Maine, all the way down to at least Virginia, maybe down to North and South Carolina by now. It's enveloping. Go. I really got to keep an eye on my status bar today because I uninstalled Necrosis because it's the regular vanilla-ish AI that I want to have here. I don't want to have much else. Our next thing up here, I'm not going to be on this for super long because I went on a tirade about how children that only do 50% of the work get into National Honor Society. But in any event, President Trump announces plans to renovate Washington, D.C.'s D.C. Dulles with 5 million square feet of new renovated space. Now, the first question you have to ask, because it involves him, is it legal? Because he's done so much stuff that's not. He has done way too much stuff that's not. So I guess the courts will have to decide. About a third of Democrats and Democratic-leaning adults identify as Democratic Socialists. Well, okay. Okay. That's fine by me. I mean, they're acting like this. They're doing this like it's a big scare tactic. It's McCarthy all over again, it seems like. And they're drumming this up to get the older folks all ginned up, because the people that are in that retirement age and older know of Vietnam. Vietnam is burned into their memory. Vietnam was burned into my memory, and I am nowhere near attached to Vietnam. Nowhere near it. But it's in my collective memory. Because it's been banged into our heads growing up. Because we actually studied history and we actually read books growing up. Sadly, some of them were about Vietnam. And about war, but that, war is inevitable. Next up, it's another NBC. Time is running out to find the survivors as rescuers continue to work on the Kumamoto area on Japan's southern main island of Kyushu, where magnitude 7.1 earthquake kit. And again, it's another one of those. I feel horrible for the people involved in that. I'm hoping nothing but the best for them. Taco Bell did something amazing and removed their lettuce from the menu, because apparently that was the secret ingredient that was causing you to go to the bathroom. Not the fact that the food is horrible anyway to begin with. The last time I had Taco Bell, what was that? We got the Taco 12-pack. I'm just going to let my dots do it. Sorry. But the last time we went to Taco Bell, I swear it was horrid. Oh, it was horrible. Because the shells tasted so god-awful stale. I couldn't get past it. I couldn't get past the taste of the shell. It's not the lack of quality in the food, right? Yeah, we're just gonna call it the lettuce, huh? But that one was a CNN, by the way. We've got a Ukraine update. Russian airstrikes per NBC. Get at least 13 people are no longer alive in Ukraine. Let's just say that. As a direct result of Russian attacks, they've gone as far as Lviv. It looks like Lviv, okay, but it's really pronounced Lviv. What's baby? My cat's in here. So we'll probably just do one or two more things here, and now, but there's 13 that are no longer alive as direct result of this stuff, and I don't know what to tell you about this, because guess what? That war is going to keep on going. There's not going to be an end to that one in sight. At all. I don't see an end to it. I see, would Putin be stupid enough to provoke a NATO response? No, he's not that. He's not that dumb. But that's a topic for another day. That is a topic for another day, because this is just going to keep on going and on and going and on and going, because Vladimir Putin has walked himself into a corner with this, and you can't withdraw, because once you withdraw, you are admitting defeat, kind of similar to how things are with Donald Trump and Iran, which is the next one from MS Now. One crap sandwich after another. The Trump administration has opted not to renew a subsidy that keeps premium costs down for people on Medicare. You, old people, voted for this. Congratulations. Congratulations. You, over 55 voter, voted for this. So enjoy your higher costs. Maybe if you would do something like, read a book. But enough about reading. Enough about reading. Let's continue to read. The U.S. military is working to make meals tastier and more nutritious for the troops and steer them away from fast food. Okay. Okay. I mean, it's an RFK-approved revamp. But if it were Mrs. Obama that was doing that, that would just be complete and utter government overreach, and I cannot believe that Michelle Obama would have done something like that, and blah blah blah, and blah 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 blah, right? Right, because this is, but because it's RFK, and because he's going to be endorsed by Dear Leader. He will be endorsed by Dear Leader, trust me, because he is endorsed by that, because they cannot have that original thinking, okay? Whatever Dear Leader says to do is whatever you do. There's no outside way around this. Ooh, let's have a drink. I need one. Need something a little stronger, but... Excuse me. So, speaking of Iran, per NBC, Iran vows to, quote, punish. Bend over and take it, baby. The United States, after the American military said it had completed a heavy, I'm just going to let it go, a heavy wave of strikes overnight. Well, okay. Donald Trump is in the same corner that Vladimir Putin is in with the Ukraine. He can't withdraw. He can't withdraw because that's going to make him, that makes him lose. He is a loser at that point. Well, he was a loser anyway because he can't admit defeat. One of the things people need to be able to do is admit defeat. Did I get another one? No, I did not. I got a hat. And a clam. Get rid of them clams. But it's just gonna, that's another one that's just gonna keep going, keep going, keep going. My prediction on the Iran thing is you're going to see boots on the ground. That's my prediction. There will be boots on the ground there. There's not much we can do about it to stop it, and after this one's done, I can smack it. Ha 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 ha. Oh, and Elon Musk, what was that? Oh, about that interview he did, and then he's like, she's a traitor to the West. No, she's not. Good Lord. What? You know, with Elon Musk, I'm going to tell you something with him. Did you know? Yeah, I'm just going to harp out, and sell. I know it takes me to Stormwind, but, oh well. I'm just going to get rid of stuff and then call it a day. But did you know with that interview, and then he does that, he did not invent Tesla, okay? He didn't invent anything that he currently has. He simply bought it with Daddy's South African trust fund money that may or may not have come at the expense of a bunch of black people because he grew up during apartheid. Always remember that with Elon Musk. And as I sell and get ready to get out of here, for today's news in Warcraft, this is Yummydelish. Gnomes are friends, not food. And remember, you have power. You could buy the books, and you can start a lending library in your very own neighborhood. Have a great day.